So Money in the Bank happened. Yeah, hi. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for your laid out of dates. WWE Money in the Bank 2025 review. For the time being, I'm just gonna record like this. I think it's probably just better at this point of time in my life. I'm gonna record like this for reviews or just in general, and I think people seem to like. I'm trying to get straight to the point. But anyways, grab your Coca-Cola, drink magnificently, and let's talk about Money in the Bank. Right? Money in the Bank was whatever. I just felt, if I could be honest, the show really felt more like a glorified Raw, just with Money in the Bank ladder match. It really honestly felt like a glorified Raw, if I could be honest with you. But big things did happen on the show. We got a big return, ladies and gentlemen. Even though it's only been a week, but hey, it's a good thing. And no, motherfuckers, it was not a fucking work. I made a video actually. Okay? For people saying, oh, you guys got worked. You guys got worked. So by that logic, everything's a work? Everything's a fucking work now, supposedly? Right? You think that everything that WWE has changed plans for certain times, those are works? That's not true. Okay? You think that Kathy Kelly crying, sexy ass Kathy Kelly? Like, you think sexy ass Kathy Kelly, like, who was crying? That's a work? You think RTruth's son, doing what he did, that's a work? So apparently everything's a fucking work to these people, like they think, cause get it, Papa H did it. Papa H could do no wrong. So that's the thing. We are living in a time that unfortunately people are just so much of Triple H shills, They're gonna say, Triple H worked you guys and whatever, which even though that's bullshit, okay? That is fucking bullshit. Even R-Truth freaking said himself, it was not a work, he credits all the fans for the outpour. That's what led to WWE actually, giving him the deal that he wanted and whatever, right? Okay? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And by that logic, if it's a work, right? How does it make any sense? How does that make WWE look good for if R-Truth is leaving and it automatically comes back, right? How does that make any sense? That would be equivalent to how Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, but then all of a sudden going back to AEW. How is that? That's so counterproductive. That it just makes no freaking sense at all. The beauty of this was real, okay? It was real that guys like R-Truth was actually gone. He was actually going to be leaving. So they kind of pull a CM Punk type of deal. Because here's the thing. If R-Truth was getting released, right? It would become another CM Punk. Okay? It will be another CM Punk moment. It will be another CM Punk issue. And you know what? R-Truth doesn't deserve to get released, the way he did. Right? He deserves, honestly, a good send-off. The guy's been loyal for how long for the company. People love R-Truth. Okay? So, it's rightfully deserving. The moment that R-Truth returned, it definitely made, it gave, definitely something. Well, I'm not a smark, and I don't like smarks, right? I do think this is where smarks and anti-smarks, or people in general who are just loves wrestling, is where we can all come together and see a guy who definitely, a likable individual, that people actually understand why people were angry that the way he was released, because loyalty deserves to be rewarded, okay? And it doesn't help that guys like Triple H is sadly taking credit that it's a work when it's not. It's not a fucking work, okay? It's not a work. The reality is Triple H is not creative enough, same as the people in the current WWE writing team are not creative enough to come up with that story. You guys are retarded. For people who are defending this, he's not creative enough to come up with that. If he was, then WWE's ratings would be so freaking good, they would not be having trouble with their ratings, and the shows would be so good. Okay? The shows would actually be creatively good. You would have good ratings. But no, the show is not good. Okay? It's not good. If it was, then we will be seeing more impactful shit like this. Okay? We will be seeing more stuff. The beauty of this was real. Okay? If it wasn't a work, they would have mentioned RTruth getting released, for crying out loud. But they didn't. They didn't mention it. So don't give me this bullshit how it was work. It's not. They would have at least mentioned something. You know? So, it's bullshit. RTruth came back to the WWE after the outrage. And it's beautiful. It's a good thing. It's a good fucking thing. Alright? So fuck you Smarks. Fuck you Triple H Marks. Fuck you Papa H. Well, Papa H could do no wrong. Papa H. Oh yeah, daddy. Like, no. Fuck y'all. You know, it's like, y'all fucking gay. Y'all fucking Smarks. You know, y'all used to hate Triple H. Now you love me because he's giving you all, he's trying to, you know, appeal to y'all Smarks. Y'all Smarks just love his smarky wrestlers. Y'all love the indie Twinkie midgets. That's the problem. Y'all love those wrestlers, right? Because he's pushing them. RTruth is more entertaining than those motherfuckers, okay? So that's why people fucking got crazy, man. So that's why RTruth is back. He's back, nigga. Seriously. So RTruth is back. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. And we're gonna see something cool, man. If you know, rightfully so. Alright? Y'all heard? Okay, so RTruth came back to the WWE. And I don't understand why y'all want it to be work, huh? Because then it would just ruin every ounce of, like, realism, you know what I mean? And just like how, like, the idea of fans having their voices be heard also. But again, for Triple H trying to take credit is bullshit, okay? This was not work. You're creatively bankrupt. You don't know how to fucking write a wrestling show. You only know how to write a wrestling show based as a wrestler, so shut up, okay? You only just know how to write wrestling matches. That's all you do. And that's not what gets, you know, good ratings. That's not what the premise of wrestling, you know? So, just saying. So, early in the show, the first match was the Women's Money in the Bank match. Earlier on Saturday, while I was watching Money in the Bank, it was clearly visible that the audience was not packed, okay? I honestly think a lot of people are saying that, you know, the show got, like, more people started to be on the show because, get it, you know, whatever. Some people are saying because of traffic and whatever. So, and because people are, like, at the Worlds Collide show or whatever. First of all, I do think, yeah, that is stupid for WWE's part for, like, having another show going on the same day, so that's a problem. But second, if you know, like, or like, since when does traffic become a problem in wrestling? Like, how is that an excuse now with wrestling fans? You know, they never fucking said, like, in a regular show that, because of traffic, that's why it's low attendance right now. That's complete bullshit, okay? Like, that's just making excuses to support your stupid wrestlers. But three, to think that, see, they filled up. Maybe some. But don't think that WWE, because they saw how much low the audience is, they either gave away tickets or they had those paid fans. That's a thing, by the way, folks, that they have paid fans to appear on the show. And they're trying to, and you know, so how is this working out for WWE? Like, you know, the whole idea of increasing these prices, inflating the prices, look how's that doing it for you. Now, you're struggling to freaking, you know, have people watch your fucking show. Because now, like, that's the problem. Now people are not going to go to your shows. They're not buying. There's, like, if you guys could think, you're just talking out of your ass. You know, they filled up. Guess what, motherfuckers? Money in the Bank still had many seats available. Okay? They still had many seats available. Okay? They did. While the show was going on. So here's what's most likely the case. They actually sold tickets as the show was going on in the cheapest way possible to fill up the seats, or they literally had to get fucking people to get into the seats because how bad the seating was. The show was not filled at all. They had to literally give away the seats. That way they could look like they had more people. So don't give me this bullshit. The fucking the whole idea of how low this audience attendance is a joke, okay? yeah, I'm not denying some traffic bullshit, but again, that was never an excuse with wrestling, and the Worlds Collide show definitely doesn't help. But again, to say that, oh, this is not a TKO problem with the whole inflating prices, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, Naomi won the Women's Money in the Bank match. This match was not really entertaining, I'll be honest with you. The only highlight of this match was literally this. That's it. The hottest move in wrestling happened on a ladder. That's it. So about Naomi winning Money in the Bank, I don't hate it. Good for her now having this run of this heel role that's getting over with some of the fans. More so the Smarky fans. I don't think casual viewers don't really care. Same thing like with myself or like anti-Smarky fans. They don't really care. But at the end of the day, hey, good for her, I guess. Good for Naomi, I guess, I don't hate the idea of her, like, getting a little push, I think, like, she's taking advantage of, her turning heel. She's making, I will say, it's good for her. It is good for her. I will give credit to, like, she was definitely one of the favorites to win Money in the Bank. Good for her. It's just the match, I don't really care for women's wrestling, right? And I don't really think or care to see women hurting themselves in the ladder match. They're just not built for the match, okay? And that's why you've seen them not really do risky moves. They're just not built for it. I'm sorry. For people that want to see them hurt, like, I'm sorry, their bodies is just not the same as men. So it made sense why this match wasn't as great as people were saying it was. Like, they were, like, disappointed with this match or whatever. So, yeah. I don't know what this is. So now this is the flavor of the month, unfortunately, with Smarks. There's a guy named Mr. Iguana. I think I can see why people like there's a promise with this guy, but here's the problem is. The problem if like for Smarks wanting to like this guy is that this is going to be another Orange Cassidy bullshit. Like, this guy apparently is like taken seriously, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't care. But at the end of the day, like, for people that are, like, marking over this guy, how she should be in a Rumble, like, enough. Okay? This guy is... Stop fucking marking out for people who are just, like, not, like, stars and you just like dumb shit, okay? I get the appeal, but, like, we already have enough of dumb shit in wrestling, okay? So, whatever. Dominic Mysterio defeated some guy named Octagon Jr.? Why did this match even happen in Money in the Bank? What the fuck is this? This is why I guaranteed you, no, this had no point to be in this show. And this is just, who the fuck is Octagon Jr.? So, this was their bullshit to try and make people care about, AAA or whatever, or Worlds Collide. They literally had Dominic appear in the show and got attacked by this Octagon doofus. And they decided to make the match based on that. And I'm just thinking to myself, why? Like, why? No one cares. No one's gonna fucking go out of their way to watch AAA in their time of their lives. And then you're really gonna... You really wasted our time with a match that had no build, no story. No one knows who this fucking guy is. You literally wasted our time for just to do some bullshit. And it's just like, who the fuck cares? You know what? Maybe this show should have had... But this match sadly happened because all the fucking fans were complaining how, the show only had 4 matches this time. Maybe it would end of our misery if the fucking show didn't fucking have this fucking match. So I would have rather had 4 matches. So we had a bunch... Again, this is the whole bullshit with WWE now. They're sadly, doing all this fucking mass advertising thing, which kind of ruins the presence of certain weapons. So they advertise how there's a fireball and Chad Gable is gifting Americano a fireball ladder. And it's like, who the fuck cares? I don't know, whatever. I will say, here's the thing. The ladder does look cool. So I will say this is where the cross promotion it's not a problem. This looked like an old school ladder. So I had no problem with this, really. It just definitely the whole whoring out the sponsor shit. It's not only takes away from the weapons and takes away from the ring and shit like that, the focus. It's just like, my God, it's like, it's annoying. It is annoying. It's like pushing it, You didn't see this shit happen back in the Attitude Era and shit like that. And that's the beauty of wrestling. Now it's just, that's their only way of making money, which it's not going to work for a long term, let's just say. Third match, Becky Lynch defeated Lyra Valkyria to win the women's title. Match was whatever. But yeah, so Becky Lynch now is like some Grand Slam champ, whatever, bullshit, whatever. Yeah, and now she got her hand shook up and she got the title put on her waist, but then Lyra Valkyria attacked her right after because she got enough of her, so didn't really care, whatever. Travis Scott and Kourtney Kardashian is on the fucking show. I guess, WWE, they were like, oh, hey, we need someone to take to see, hey, you guys want free tickets? I guarantee you they probably don't even care about wrestling. But Topanga does, and which makes me question, why doesn't WWE focus on Topanga? Topanga! Then we had the men's Money Bank match happen, so more people happened, but you can clearly tell there were still some seats that were not filled. You can tell also WWE did not want to show the entire show because of how the lack of audience, so that was evident. The match was not bad. I will say the early pass match was it was your typical Money in the Bank match. And it amazed me how this match was, it's 20 years in the making, and how this match happened the same arena, or not same arena, but the same, birthplace, which is okay. I will say, the problem with Money in the Bank, I do feel like it's a drawn-out concept, where, it happens probably too much now. I'm not saying you should just directly return to WrestleMania, because then it'll be a problem, and it kind of takes away from, any match could be a ladder match at WrestleMania as well. I don't think there's need to necessarily always be a ladder match at WrestleMania. I think, Money in the Bank, sure, that's a nice idea to have at WrestleMania sometimes. I think it could be an occasional thing. But again, there are times that I would say, hey, why not have, let's say a singles IC title ladder match. So that's why I'm not saying, hey, we should automatically do a ladder match with, with everything every year. But again, I guess we're 20 years in the making. I don't think how it's a problem that they didn't make Money in the Bank at WrestleMania or something like that. But other than that, I just think the problem with this match too is just, and Money in the Bank in general, it's just there need to be more stars. You can't just have every guy there, he's clearly he's there for the spot. My problem with this match also is, this match, they should have had CM Punk in this match. Okay? The fans were cheering for Punk. You would think, Punk would at least show up during the match, cost Rollins the match or whatever. It's just, to me, it just made no sense why Punk was not there, since they're supposedly feuding, right? To me, it just would have made sense, they instead of Americano winning the stupid triple threat that they did, it should have been Punk. That way the story throughout the match is, Punk and Rollins, they have their feud going. And then you could have had, in other cases, Solo and whatever, you could have had, something, even with Jacob Fett, something, you should have had, people who should have been in this match should have been up, literally, they're upper mid-carders transforming to be main eventers, or, just straight up main eventers, but, they just never had a Money in the Bank match. Rollins, no problem, fine. LA Knight, definitely understandable for being the Money in the Bank. Solo, okay, people actually, he's main evented before in matches, so it's fine. The other three, where you have Penta just there for the spot, it just makes no sense. Andrade, he never wins anything big. And then you have, Americano, who's Chad Gable. Again, why did he need to be in the match? You know what I mean? You could have done something, just worlds collide with Chad Gable and Penta or whatever. Simple. You don't need to have them, in Money in the Bank. And instead, you could have had Money in the Bank. You could have CM Punk in the match. You could have had even AJ Styles in the freaking match, right? You could even also had, again, why not had Sol and Jacob Fatu in the match? It would make more sense to have their little dissension in this match as well. So yeah, Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. I just felt the ending was a bit weird with no Punk, and I was surprised that Rollins. I'm just not surprised. I kind of figured Rollins would win. He's the most predictable winner, but that's not a problem. It's not a problem that WWE played it safe. I have no problem with, like, I'm not thinking like, oh, WWE played it safe. You know, they should have had a new guy win. I'm not saying a new guy needs to win a match every year. Like, with that bullshit, everyone thinks like, you know, oh, every guy needs to win the Royal Rumble and blah blah blah. I just think as long as it serves purpose for a story, then fine. I just think the problem with this match is like Rollins is clearly feuding with Punk, right? Along with even Roman and shit. Won't it have made any sense to have Rollins and Punk in the same match, and now been in the story entire match as long as well as like Solo, you know, having his issue with his bloodline, and then they could have had the moment with Jacob Fatu. Won't that have made any more sense, for crying out loud? I just think, like, you know, they could have ended this 2-3 ways. They could have ended this with match with Seth Rollins winning, CM Punk winning, or heck, they could have given the opportunity to LA Knight, a new guy, right, to win this match. A lot of people were hoping LA Knight to win this match. I actually think, yeah, LA Knight winning this match would have been kind of cool, too. Like, he kind of, you know, is essentially already like an upper mid-carder. He already was a former United States champion. This would have been a perfect way to elevate him to a main event status, if they're not going to have him, like, in the future, like, oh, you know, go back down to main card. I think that's the problem with WWE. The problem with WWE is whenever they make a guy world champion, they go and then they lose the title, they put them back in the mid card. I think that's a problem, you know, with wrestling nowadays. If you're promoted to main event, you should at least be the main eventer, not shoved down back to the mid card and you're winning mid card titles. Unless they're really to push guys like LA Knight and shit like that to, like, be still the main event, like, you know, then that's a good thing. You know, why not? But unfortunately, I will tell you why guys like LA Knight, or just specifically LA Knight, did not win this match. I'm going to tell you one reason specifically. Is because LA Knight is not a Triple H guy. That's the simple reality. He's just not a Triple H guy, unfortunately. And you want to know why? Because LA Knight, he's not a shill. He's not a shill. He's not going to, like, appease his Triple H. Because LA Knight knows. He knows that, you know, WWE's booking is just to the smarks, and he's not, like, he doesn't appeal to, like, flips and kicks shit, you know, like that, and he's not, like, again, he's not a mark. He's not a smart as well. He doesn't appeal to smarks. But unfortunately, with guys like Seth Rollins, who is a Triple H guy, it's been long established that he's a Triple H guy. Everything that Rollins does is basically ripping off Triple H and how he's, like, honored by Triple H. I don't know, in some weird way. Whatever, this is why freaking Rollins won. Because, again, one of the reasons, he is a backstage politician type of thing. Because he's, you know, loved by Triple H. So that's one of the reasons why Rollins sadly won the match. Not that I hate it. You know, I guess out of everybody, he's obviously the more clear winner. But the problem is, again, why wasn't Punk even involved in this match or two? Like, he should have been at least in this match. Here's another problem. This is basically ripping off 2014 Authority bullshit, and they're also ripping off the Bloodline as well. So they're ripping off the Authority Rollins, like, oh, yeah, in the future, which isn't Rollins the current, like, oh, you're not the future, you're the now. What happened to that promo? I thought Rollins is the now. Why is Rollins talking about, in the future, evil, help me, please help me? Like, why are we going back to 2014, 2015 Rollins shit? Didn't that fucking shit lower the ratings, for crying out loud? And are we really going back to Seth Rollins being the world champion when Rollins has established himself to literally be, like, one of the lowest drawing champions in history? Are we going to really go back to that? Unless WWE actually knows how to do shit, but we know, because supposedly, you know, oh, Triple H worked us, guys, supposedly that. Are we actually going to get good writing, or is this going to be the same bullshit that we have been previously? I don't know. I don't freaking know. But yeah, they did have the moment where Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo, they attacked Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. They came out during the match, they cleared everybody, and then we had a little new bloodline versus Rollins group face-off brawl, which was kind of cool. It was actually pretty cool. And then Solo was standing. He was, you know, Jacob tried to help, you know, he was helping Solo, but then he stopped him, and he basically says, I hate you, and he puts him through the ladder. I was kind of confused by this because it made me think, like, is he a babyface or is he heel? That's one of my main problems of this little turn. Like, I do think Jacob Fatu should be a babyface. I just think that they should have worked it better. Like should made sense. Like why Solo turned or Jacob turned on him, other than they could have done something where they showed a video. Like why not during this? Like he showed a video why he did what he did, or you could have built up that dissension, maybe do something where, like, before helping Solo, there's a little dissension between them before helping with the ladder. Maybe if Braun Breaker stops, Jacob from helping Solo, and then Solo gets a little angry. That would have made more sense, because now, if anything, I kind of feel bad it makes me feel bad for Solo, or I'm tempted to cheer for Solo, because this just makes Jacob Fatu look like a heel here. So that's the big problem of this whole little turn, this little breakup. So that's my little problem there. But in the end of the day, I think Solo and it's going to lead to Solo versus Jacob. I do think Jacob Fatu should be something. It's going to be cool, and we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, Rollins won the match after he was about to climb the ladder right after all of this, but then LMA tries to stop him, but then a curb stomp, and that leads to Rollins winning. So it kind of was abrupt, honestly. It felt a little abrupt at how they ended things. You would think something bigger was going to happen, but whatever. I will say, again, the match was good. It was a good little, ladder match. Wasn't terrible. Started off like whatever. I mean, everybody targeted Rollins, which made sense. So not much complaints. It did end a little weird. You would expect like something more to happen. I mean, I will say, the new Rollins faction versus the new bloodline. It did feel a little cinematic, so which was good, But other than that, that's all I will say from this ladder match. Like the match was fine. It just okay, it happened. It just. How does it make any sense for, like, Punk not being there? Like, sure, it would have been predictable, yeah, but, like, it would just make more sense, But again, like, I would have been more fine if, like, if Punk was in the match, too, so. Heck, it would have been kind of cool to even see Punk, like, winning this match, too. You could have always done that, where they feud over the Money in the Bank briefcase as well, and then eventually one of them becomes the world champion and shit like that, It's not a big problem. So anyways, it's official. WrestleMania is going to be coming back to Vegas. I already made a video about this. Yeah. So, sorry, New Orleans. And it's a darn shame that, now they're going back to Vegas. I don't know. That's WWE and TKO is based on Vegas now. They only care for Vegas, so they're going to take advantage of that. So, and it is what it is. Nikki Bella returns, ladies and gentlemen. Who the hell asked for this? And this is probably for the build to that fucking Women's Evolution show, whatever. She got paid to have child support, bro. Don't get me wrong. Nikki Bella is invited to the Big Black Couch, but the problem with Nikki Bella is like she's a fucking cunt. Like, she's a fucking cunt. Like, literally, I feel bad for her queer husband or ex-husband now, because like literally. Like, the world where people believe Nikki Bella, she ends up being the one that literally did the assaulting. So what does that tell you? And now she got to pay off, like, I'm assuming, she got to pay off that whole bullshit. She got to pay off the settlements. So that's why she's, like, back in the wrestling world. So, yeah. The main event, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, they actually defeated John Cena and Logan Paul. The match, I will say, didn't really like the match when it started. I thought the match was a bit slow and whatever. I mean, the match got better, so it was an okay match. The match really felt like a TV match. This match really felt like a match you would see in a glorified Raw. And again, this show really felt like a glorified Raw. Not the worst show, but, like, if you really think about it, like, this really felt like a Monday Night Raw. This did not feel like a pay-per-view, for crying out loud. But I guess that's what happens when you're spending, like, $10 a month for a pay-per-view, so. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, the match, it got better. Logan Paul did mess up on, like, his little lariat, whatever, but, like, he messed up. Like wrestlers can mess up. Like, no wrestler is perfect. Like any other wrestler hasn't messed up, for crying out loud. Anyways, but Logan Paul is literally like a pro, for God's sakes, Anyways, like, the match is fine. The match got better towards the ending. Logan Paul did a massive moonsault through the announce table.
there was a big like ending, like, oh yeah, John Cena was about to win. He did like a combination of Logan Paul's punch with the attitude adjustment. But Cody kicked out, which a bunch of false finishes was like, really, like, I'm done with false finishes. But what can we do? The problem I was gonna say, oh yeah, so they did the whole John Cena and Logan Paul having dissension with each other, which it's just a. I'm just tired of this. Like, why is it with every heels they have dissension with each other? You know what I mean? Like, no heel can get along with each other, but baby faces are all of a sudden best friends. It's so fucking gay. Everybody loves Cody Rhodes. Like, I respect you, I love you, I want to have sex with you, Cody Rhodes. Oh, Jay, yo, me, like, shut up, for crying out loud. Holy hell, like, fucking A. Shout out to C-Jax, by the way. I'm sorry if I stole the high respect, but you're not wrong. Even though a lot. Let's be honest. A lot of people, like, the origins of what people say is like, goes back to the Smart Busters, goes back to Wrestling Jesus, goes back to even like even what's his name, freaking technical work rates and shit like that. They know what to do. But yeah, CJ, keep going what you're doing, bro. And also, like, Nate the Great, God bless. You guys are doing good. Carrying the YWC when I'm, not really full time anymore. So God bless y'all. Yeah. But yeah, the big thing of this match after the whole, putting the tables, you had Cena laying out Cody Rhodes with the belt in the end. And then RTruth came out. Well, he was like covered up. He was like masked. He speared Cena. And then we see RTruth unmask himself, looking more serious, right? So maybe you might see a serious more RTruth, and he hits Cena with the belt. And then Cody Rhodes pins Cena, 1, 2, 3. Again, this should have been more of a TV match, because again, why was this match on a pay-per-view? It's like, come on, for the past 3 years, we've been seeing the WWE champ in a non-title match. I would not have a problem, and again, I said this in my, in videos before. Why couldn't they made this match title winner take all title match, and the titles are on the line with their respective opponents? Like Cody Rhodes, he's essentially challenging for the WWE title, while Logan Paul is challenging for the World Heavyweight title. They could have easily had Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win this match. Cody could win back the title in this way. Sure, would this have ruined Cena's 17th title reign? Whatever, sure, whatever. But then, maybe this could have helped Cena going back to his old ways or whatever, and maybe win the title properly back, making him an 18-time champion. They could have always done, you never know, they could have, like, who cares if Cena, like, the record's already done. Cena already became the most multi-main WWE champion in history. Would it really be a problem if Cena was to become an 18-time champion, for crying out loud? I just felt that's what it made sense. They could have pulled a Backlash 2001 moment where, like, hey, all the titles are on the line, with their respective opponents, Cena ends up losing the match, but you can always win it back in the future as a heel or even as a babyface. Maybe that would have been better, I mean, I say that would have been a better idea. Like, why not have Cena, like, he learned to error his ways, he goes back to being a babyface, wins the title back properly, I would say that, that would have been a better way to, like, end his career, That's something I would say. But anyways, RTruth, I don't know. It's just, to me, like, you got it, like, why can't you do shit like that? If you're gonna have a match like this, like, the title should have been on the line. Like, it just made sense with, like, how the idea of Logan Paul, he wants to be the World Heavyweight Champion, and John Cena wants to be the last real champion, and they want to ruin wrestling. They need to team up together. They want to be champion together. Why not have made this match a winner-take-all type of deal? You know what I mean? I understand, like, why would that make sense with Jey Uso defending title against Gunther? Well, then why even make fucking matches like that happen in the first place, for crying out loud? Like, why even, like, how does that make any sense where, like, Gunther versus Jey Uso not happening at Money in the Bank, but it's happening the Raw after? You know what I mean? And again, it all works out. Like, if they were to make this winner-take-all title match, whatever, they could have had easily Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes win the match. They're both the champs, and blah, blah, blah. That seemed like the most better scenario they could easily have done. And Cena could win the title back whenever, I think like that's also the problem with WWE and wrestling nowadays. Like, who cares if someone has like a short reign as champion? You know, back in the days of when wrestling was good, you did have title changes when it made sense. Like, what would have been a problem if Cena loses the title and wins it back again and has it for a few more months? You know, who cares? You know, it's all about telling a story. Back in the days, like Austin lost the title, he didn't have like a long freaking reign as champion. You know, he had the title a bunch of times because it mattered and made sense for story wise. You know, like who cares if like a wrestler has a multi-time champion and that doesn't make him look like whatever. Like longest reign champion, we already had Roman Reigns being the longest reign world champion in recent memory. Okay. Maybe it's time to actually have freaking title chains up the woozy. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn. I'm not saying like hot potato the titles, but like it doesn't hurt to have a few title changes throughout the fucking year. So, yeah. Anyways, that was Money in the Bank. R-Truth returned in the end, and everybody gets emotional. Everyone's happy, and then Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, they celebrate into the post-show, and how, you know, hey, let's give it up to main event Jey Uso, and let's give it up to R-Truth coming back, and whatever, and that's how the show ends. Again, the match was fine, but it's just I felt like this should have been a TV match. I just felt the entire show though was a big TV show. Like it really felt like a glorified Raw, for all honest to ourselves, which makes me say that this show was not that great up until to the last two matches, and definitely R-Truth. It was a great moment to see R-Truth. I will say, R-Truth definitely made this show. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2025. R-Truth is a main focal point, but that's a good thing. So, I will say overall, aside from that though, the show wasn't great entirely. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. But hey, you know, it's whatever. Definitely had its moments. So I will say overall, the show was just, it wasn't whatever. It wasn't. I don't know, because you know it did have the Money in the Bank match, the men's Money Bank, and the main event, which makes the match was like okay, I guess, considering when this was a 5 match show, you had 2 of the matches, 2 matches out of the 5. It's okay, I guess. It's mediocre, honestly, but whatever. But anyways, that's the show for you. That's Money in the Bank for you. Till next time, peace. Yeah, bye. R-Truth is back, ladies and gentlemen. Free speech wins.